safely ensconced for episode number 85. You believe that?
85.
85.
It's all good.
100 pretty soon. How about that? Yahoo of the week is the guy in Casanova, obviously the school board vice president. And I hate saying that he's the Yahoo of the week because it kind of like lightens the situation, and we don't want to do that. No. It's exceptionally serious situation. This guy is a predator and very dangerous, and if he gets let out on bail, I just don't get it. But we'll see if he does, and he shouldn't, but we'll see if he does.
And him being an elected official didn't make anything smoother because they had to figure out ways to remove him, and it took too long, and finally he decided to resign. And man, I don't know.
Yeah, terrible.
And that just it puts a whole damper on what he was trying to do in the Cas Pride.
Yes. Community. So it casts a shadow on everyone who's trying to do that,
especially in these times when it's so
right. Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's the worst thing that can happen in that community right now. Yep. It's terrible. Not to mention what happened to the children, which is much more important. So it's a terrible thing. He needs to be incarcerated forever, and hopefully that's the outcome. Now, the outcome of the race between Mr. Magnarelli and Mr. Brown is going to take a while, evidently. And they both did, I'm sure, internal polling. And I think Bill probably knew that this was going to be a really close race because he was spending a lot of money. And he did debates, and he came on for the conversation. And, I think that had he not thought it was going to be close, he would have done all that stuff. So I don't think they're surprised. I know Mo's not surprised that things were close. And they are. They're very close, but Mo's winning. But, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be counted still and rules that need to be followed and all kinds of stuff needs to go on.
What a crowd he had last night at the at the Westcott Theater, man.
And, in New York City, Mandami's people all won.
Yep.
They all won their primaries. So that's quite a thing. And it looks like the Democratic Party is leaning toward becoming, the Democratic Socialist Party. Now, people will jump all over that, obviously, but, it's in reaction to the fact that the extreme right has been in charge for how many years now, and look how things are. And so, people forget Republicans own both houses of Congress and the presidency. So, now it's a reaction to that. So now people are going to go far the other way. I don't agree with everything that Democratic Socialists believe in at all, but I like a lot of their positions. I like a lot of Republican positions, but I'm center right if I'm anything. So I don't know. This is going to be really interesting to see what happens. And the general election, they go against Sean Fiato, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Democrats probably have the advantage in that race. It's always been Democratic. So Sean has a tough road to hoe. That's no question about it, but she's going to run. It's just going to be fascinating to see who comes out on top. Now, another question would have to be asked. I don't know did Mo have another line other than, the Democrat? I guess not. I guess
working families.
Yeah, but not during the primary. That was just for Democrats.
Right, yeah.
So even if Mo doesn't win, he'll still be on the ballot probably in the working families line. So that makes that interesting too. That could be a three-way thing, and then who knows what happens.
And that's kind of what's happening with that's going to happen in Elise Stefanik's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's still going to run. I think the guy that he went up against is still going to run the conservative line. He has the conservative line still.
Okay. And the Trump guy won the Republican primary, right?
Now, if you're going down, to the that area, the Albany area, and you're going down 81, you can see his building. For the longest time, had a big "Vote Trump" sign on the top of his building. Now he's the CEO of Sticker Mule.
Okay.
And it's like an all-you-can-shop sticker. You upload a logo to the sticker place, they print out stickers and send them to you.
Oh, okay.
So his opponent was using, they were printing out anti-ICE stickers for companies, so that he tried to use that as he's anti-ICE, anti-Trump, because he
and people believed it, right?
And right, yeah.
Right. Well, they elected Stefanik how many times? So they're not the smartest people in the world, but that's all right. Hey, they want that. You're allowed to vote for whoever you want to vote for.
Exactly. That's your God-given right.
Well, it's your right in the United States. I don't know if God gave it to anybody, but there's a lot of countries where you can't. So, God. All right, shall we see if Dustin can hear it?
How you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm doing well.
Beautiful. This is the guy that's going to know all the. He's got all the numbers.
All right, so we're so close in Magnarelli and Brown.
Dustin Sarney, commissioner,
elections commissioner, Democratic elections commissioner. Where do we go from here, Dustin? That's the first question.
Okay, so 82 votes separate unofficially Mo Brown and Bill Magnarelli, with Mo Brown being ahead. We have in hand, as of this morning, 51 vote by mail ballots that haven't been part of that scan because they came in after Sunday.
Okay.
And then we have another, I believe when I left to go do this interview, we're like at 74, 75 affidavit ballots that were just turned in at the polling sites over the last early voting and election day. And we're adjudicating those over the next week. Okay. And then there's another 459 potential absentee vote by mail ballots that haven't been returned yet.
Okay.
So, there's a potential of about 600 votes, but in likelihood, most of those ballots that have been mailed out are not going to come back. Right. So we're looking at about 200, 300 more votes to count.
And those have to be postmarked yesterday, correct?
They do, or turned into the polls yesterday. And every night on our Facebook and Twitter feed for County Board of Elections, Onondaga County Board of Elections, we will post what the outstanding totals are. And then on Tuesday next week, we have to wait till then by law to scan those ballots, and because you have up until 7 days for a ballot to come in, as long as it's postmarked yesterday. And so we wait until the end. We scan all those ballots in. That's when we'll know the actual totals, and we'll release those. But even then, that's not the end of this, right?
No, can't be, no.
So July 7th, we certify. And if we certify and there's less than a 0.5% difference between the candidates, which I estimate to be somewhere between 35 and 40 ballots, depending on how many ballots come in, then we proceed to a mandated hand count where we hand inspect every ballot to make sure that the machine's got it right, but also to make sure that any voters that maybe circled the oval or put a light check mark in the oval, that maybe those votes didn't get counted. So we will count those as well, just to make sure the person who won actually won. And so we got a potential long road ahead of us. I will know a lot more a week from yesterday.
Now, if the person who does not win, can they file some kind of challenge or anything like that?
Well, anybody can avail themselves of the court system, but there's all indications that this election was done in a fair and upstanding way. It's just close. And now when we get into the hand count, they can dispute the validity of ballots when we get into that.
Right.
But if we don't get into the hand count, then there's very few paths for them to challenge in court. They can always try. There's no indication, by the way, that either of these gentlemen are doing that. They believe in government. They believe in elections. They've they've been very respectful to the Board of Elections. They had observers in today just to know the process. But no, there's no indication that anybody's going to lawyer up. But if they do, I welcome it, because I think that's just part of the transparency that we try to provide.
Yeah, absolutely.
It also did seem when we had the conversation here that no matter what way it went, the other one was going to back the other one anyway. Right. So,
well, I always hope that's the case. I mean, it's the way it should be. We're all Democrats. We believe in a common screed, and I know there's a lot of makeup between the progressive end and the socialist and the more conservative end. But at the end of the day, we probably agree on 95% of the issues. I think where the divide seems to be in the party, and I'm not really part of that divide, I try to stay away from that, but the divide in the party seems to be on the method of getting to the final outcome. And I think at the end of the day, we ascribe to being part of this party because we agree more than we don't. And I think I hope they'll all come together.
Is this a surprise that
Why?
Mo has shown up as much as he has? Is this?
Well, I think it's a surprise.
When I first, I'll just say when I first heard, and this has nothing to do with Mo. I think Mo's a great person. I just thought, I mean, with Bill's track record and how long he's been in, there was no way. But that was then, and as time went by, it has changed for me. But I didn't think it would be. I still thought last night that Bill was going to take it.
Well, I do think that obviously no one's really challenged Bill for a long time because they were pretty satisfied with his representation, but also, it's really hard to come up and say I'm going to take on a 28-year incumbent, and Mo had the courage and fortitude and the game plan to do so. This is not an accident that we are here. Mo's a very good candidate. Bill's a very good representative. That's why it's so close. It's a tough choice. There's a generational issue there. There's a stylistic issue there. But at the end of the day, that's what I love about elections. You never really know. You never really know until it comes in. And is it a surprise? Sure. It's a surprise, but it's not a unplanned for surprise. This is not a happy accident. There was a lot of thought and practice and, a combination of things coming together. So.
All right. Thank you, Dustin, for filling us in, and we'll, be talking to you again as soon as this is finalized, and who knows when that's going to be, but at least, next Tuesday or after that, we'll talk again.
I would love to. All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Take care.
Dustin. Busiest man in the county
now. So I'll tell you this. I think a large part of it is the generational issue. I really do.
I do too.
I think, people are looking for new ideas and younger ideas. And we have an 80-year-old president. I mean, Bill's 77. There's a lot of people in Congress in their 80s and late 70s. And, I think people are sick of it. So I think that had something to do with it too. I really do. And stylistically, I thought that was a good point that Dustin made. Stylistically, they're very different. Mo is very outgoing and very outspoken, and Bill is more, laid back. And, I think he's done a great job as a state legislator. But if the people speak, the people speak, and that's what we're all about.
And that's the best thing about.
Yes,
because that doesn't happen in a lot of countries.
No,
a lot of countries.
Right. And the way that this happened is really never done. Mo said, I'm tired of waiting my turn. And well, that's the way it is in politics. And so maybe not anymore. Maybe he's, one of the people that breaks the mold and more follow. We'll see. I thought Bill was going to pull it out last night too, but with 82 votes and the number that are out there, it's going to be very difficult. But the absentees seem to be going Bill's way, while the in-person voting was going Mo's way. And Dustin made another very good point. This was a strategy. This was a whole strategy by Mo, and because that's what he does for a living. And he really set a really good strategy up, and it worked. I mean, he won the city easily. He went around and talked to everybody, and especially those people who don't normally vote. He talked to a lot of those people, and that's great. Good for him. It was all about turnout, and whoever got their people out was going to win, and we'll see in the end. But it looks pretty good for Mo. Very interesting. Very interesting. I never thought that something like this would happen, but it's also very heartening, to see something like this happen. I'm sick of people being told you have to wait your turn. Why? Especially, and I'm not saying this is the case, but especially if the guy's better than the guy that's in office now. Now, I like Bill in office now. I think he's done a wonderful job. But if you have somebody who's better and they're being told, well, you just have to wait. He just said, nah, I don't think I will.
I ain't gonna.
No, and he won. Well, he's winning. So,
yes.
Man. Now, we're also going to talk about somebody that you have a personal connection to, Bill, through your dad, through the great Ray Rinaldi, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if you don't know, there's a lot of people after his passing, Ray passed at the age of 96,
96, yeah.
last week. And he was about as legendary in the boxing community as you can get. And that all starts with Mark Miro back in the days of the Golden Gloves. And Mark Miro went on to be Johnny B. Bad in WCW, and then Mark Miro in WWF. But Ray was featured many times on WWF television with Mark when they were doing the Brawl for All boxing exhibition for WWF.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that how many people knew this man until after he passed, because my Facebook feed was flooded with condolences for Ray. And I'll tell you, I had a closer than some relationship when I was younger because he was friends with my father. Up until I think the last time I saw him was a couple years ago. His thing was he'd give you a jab right in the gut.
Is that right?
And it'd take the breath right away from you at 90 years old. You wouldn't see it coming. It'd be real quick, and then he'd grab the back of your head and give you a hug like the Italian guy.
Yep.
Sweet man. The things that he did in this community for kids.
Yeah, no kidding.
Getting kids off the street.
Yep.
Mike Otis, our friend from Battle Tested Brands, was his friend, and he was, well, you'll know Mike's voice as soon as you hear it. He's still on commercials today in CNY, but he was his announcer for a lot of the boxing matches. So Ray's going to come on or Mike's going to come on and give us a little bit of the backstory on how Ray.
Now, how did your dad know Ray?
So when my dad was 16 years old, he fought. He was a fighter, and his trainer was
scrappy little dude.
Tony Graziano, who was another 100-year-old guy that passed away not too long ago. And then Ray came into and Ray and Tony were friends, and that's how he got involved with my father. And then just through the whole years of Canastota and the Boxing Hall of Fame, because my family's from Canastota, they just became friends. And my dad in the 80s was a corner man for Mike Blaze. He was an 80s local boxer. His real name was Mike Blazinski. They called him Mike Blaze. I'll never forget it. It was at the War Memorial. I think I still got the posters, the little posters that they used to put up somewhere in the back.
Was he a tin can, or was he all right?
Yeah, he wasn't very good. Yeah. My father wasn't either. I think he broke his nose, and I think he only fought back then. Professional and amateur was not like it is today.
No, not at all.
When you were considered a professional fighter, you weren't making the money that they make today. Actually, the big story is Billy Backus, the one who won the world championship. My father was one of Billy's sparring partners.
No kidding.
And after he won the world championship, it was near Christmas. Billy didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, so they had to put a collection together for the old rusty rail in Canastota.
No kidding.
After the fight, so he could get presents for his kids.
I actually met him, Billy Backus, when I was 17. I was working at Don Pepe's restaurant in the kitchen. I was the dishwasher and the pizza maker, by the way.
Wow.
And he came in, and you could tell instantly he was a boxer because he had a flattened nose and he had scar tissue over both eyes. I mean, heavy scar tissue over both eyes. But his hands, man.
Hands of stone.
Oh, my gosh. You shook hands with him. You're like, holy cow. He was such a nice guy, too. He was nice and I was a kid. He was nice to me. He didn't have to be nice to me, but he was nice to everybody. And, it was impressive, but you could tell he was a boxer. Wow.
Billy Backus, Carmen Basilio,
Ray
Rinaldi, Tony Graziano, Ed Brophy. Those are the names of, Canastota's New York boxing. Ed is still the president of the
of the
Boxing Hall of Fame. And
he's basically the driving force behind the whole thing.
He is the quintessential carnival barker. I mean, when we had him back on the program back in the day, once you let him go, he's in promo mode.
Yeah, he was always a great interview. And we interviewed Ray a couple times as well. And he was great. He was, especially when he was having problems at that one gym. We tried to raise money for him, try to help him. He was just a great dude, just great for this community. And he's another, icon. That's
if you're at all into boxing and you ever have a chance to go to the Boxing Hall of Fame banquets that they have every year, and now they're at the Turning Stone. They used to be at the On Center. Even before that was at the Rusty Rail and the Rusty Nail in Canastota. But Go. It's not as expensive as you think. You get a nice meal, but you're around all the legends.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean,
The last one I went to was before Jake LaMotta passed. He was there with his cowboy hat on.
no kidding.
Yeah. Ken Norton, all those guys.
Have they had it already?
Yeah, it was
A couple weeks.
last weekend.
Last
it was,
weekend, yeah. Sugar Ray, right? Was the marshal of the parade,
Yes.
the grand
Yep.
marshal? Yeah. Great fighter.
There's a lot of there's books about Canastota boxing if you're
Really?
interested in it. Yeah. Look into it if you're into old time boxing. I haven't watched boxing other
Yeah,
than those
very long time.
those crazy Tyson fights that they were doing,
Yeah, no.
or Jake Paul, but I haven't watched.
Junk.
UFC's the sports fighting now.
Yeah, it really is.
Which that was.
I have been watching though. I saw a Hearns and Leonard fight. I saw a Hearns Hagler fight the other day. I mean, that's boxing. Holy cow, those guys were unbelievable. Roberto Duran, all those guys.
Bloodbaths.
Yeah,
I used to
high level boxing.
I used to have every Tyson fight
Really?
on DVD, recorded from televisions, from VCR tapes put down.
It's like watching the ones where he comes into the ring
And
with the sweatshirt that's
Yep.
torn all up, or a towel with that hole in it or whatever, and throws it off and knocks the guy out in the first round and leaves.
Black shorts, black boots, no socks, in and out.
Yeah.
We ain't working by the hour, folks.
Nope. Man, boy, he could hit too.
And that's another guy. If you ever want to, his documentary is really good because he went through, the worst of times. Started as a kid.
Yep.
With Customato, in the
Catskills.
Catskills,
Mhm.
and came up, boxer, became a trouble guy, had the problems with
When Cuss died, they all went
Yep.
to hell. That's what happened.
and then he's turned it around. Ever since that, when he was in The Hangover, kind of his
Comeback.
because he had that goofy thing on his face, and still that's now part of him. And I met him. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame one year that I went, and he did his autograph signing. He was great.
Really?
Great. Took time with everybody. Talked. He wanted to talk. He just wanted to talk.
No kidding.
He was just talkative. Just a guy that just wanted to talk.
That's nice. I'd
Yep.
love to talk boxing with him. He's a boxing historian. He had a thing on HBO where he was doing like the older fights. He would introduce
Yes.
an older fight and then talk about it. That the dude knew how to box. There's no question about that. But
Didn't know anything else, but that's
right.
in that era. That's all they knew.
Yeah. Yep. Also, we're going to talk about the SPCA today as well. They had some difficulties, some real difficulties, some bad problems, and now things are turning around, which is good news because we're coming into the summer, and people, the puppies tend to get born, the kittens, and people abandon them, and it's overwhelming for people who try to take care of stray animals. It's completely overwhelming.
And they'll talk about it. They need foster families. They need people to rescue these dogs, and they're beautiful. If you go to the website, I look at it all the time because I've said it. Once Chipper gets trained, I've for the longest time I didn't want anything. I didn't want a dog because it's a lot of work. You
Yeah.
gotta be home. We can't be gone we can't. Brandy and I hardly ever go away anymore together.
I know.
But it's great because he's great. It's great. Animals are great.
Yes, they're great companions.
Yep.
I've never had a dog until now, the last 10 years, and he's a great dog. Just a
Yep.
really, really good.
So there's a whole bunch of some of gorgeous dogs, and the adoption fees aren't that bad.
Was it like 400?
I think it's even less than that for
Less
some.
than
Yeah,
that? Okay.
and that includes all your shots and everything. Get you going.
They get spayed too, right?
Yep.
Okay. And neutered. Well, if he's not going to show up, let's talk about this Clinton Square thing.
Yeah, I
that picture
didn't
up there.
I didn't see this.
I didn't see it until we came in today.
Yeah, I saw it just
How about
about a few
that?
minutes. That looks. I saw them
That
putting.
is pretty cool.
I saw the pictures of them starting to put it down, but I didn't realize that it was a graphic.
So, is that where the ice skating rink is?
Yeah. So if you're watching if you're listening to the podcast, we've got a picture of it's an aerial shot of Clinton Square.
Right.
They've obviously taken the water out, and it's a faux floor instead of the ice, and for roller skating.
Yeah. Roller skating. Yep. That's pretty cool. Very smart, actually. But I guess this is the reason there's no festivals in Clinton Square this summer, right? Because we're going to do this.
No, it's next year. The festivals aren't going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's next year.
Okay.
But no, this is I don't know. There were dates. It wasn't all summer. I think it was just maybe in July and August.
Okay.
Certain times it's $5 admission, $5 to rent the skates. And I saw if you had your own skates, you could go on off times.
Now, is it inline skates or roller skates?
I imagine either or.
Interesting. I tried inline skates one time.
Can't
They
do
hurt
it.
my ankles. Kill my ankles. Yeah, that's a great idea. Very cool. Like to see new stuff like that. That's very interesting. I want to have food trucks and stuff. And speaking of that, we did go to Anthony Tringali's
Oh yeah.
Eat Local Festival. Shalene and I and her daughter Elena went, and Anthony had hooked us up with some VIP passes, parking pass, sweet.
Parking's always the best thing.
Yes, but I had not been to the Inner Harbor area in forever, and that is beautiful down there.
It is. So was it
oh
like
my
where they
gosh.
do? Well, since you haven't been there forever.
No, I
it's in that
haven't.
big. It's in that big area, the big lawn area, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not far at all from the aquarium, which is being built. You could see it right from where we were. It was just great. It was just he had the thing set up so well. A lot of places that you don't normally see here, and then they had Brickyard Barbecue, which I had.
Oh, yeah.
Their pulled pork sandwich, delicious. That sauce had a little kick to it too, which was nice. But Ruby's Cheesesteaks was also there, and they opened in Eastwood, which sold out every day. And then something happened and he had to close, and then he was doing pop-ups, but now I guess he's going to be back in business. So
That's I hope that's going to be the place where they'll put a lot of the festivals that are.
I hope so too,
because
because it works
there's
out really well.
There is a lot of parking down there.
Yes, there is. Yep.
There's a huge lot right across from that area.
Yes. And the VIP parking area was next to the hotel. I think it's their big lot next to the hotel. That's where we parked. But there was parking all over the place. I mean, there was quite a lot of people there, but that wasn't even peak time. I know they had bands at night, and they were expecting a lot more people, but it was comfortable. It wasn't crowded, but there was a good crowd. Let's put it that way. And they had plenty of seating in shade, which is important because there's not much shade there.
Yeah.
Where they hold it. So you have to have like a big tent. So you had one area had a huge tent up where you could go in and get out of the sun, which I did frequently. And then they had another huge area where that big gray building is.
Yep.
There's a huge parking lot basically, but they had people down there, stands down there, but they had a truck with a giant TV screen showing the soccer games on it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and they had it for the U.S. game, and I guess that drew quite a crowd. So it was great. It was really well done. So he should be congratulated. The guys from Harvey should be congratulated. It was great. I hope it's a local. I hope it's a yearly event.
Did you try Crisp Eye
I did not. No. How is that?
I don't know. I haven't.
I haven't
It's
tried
like the mystery because they're really. I don't think they're open yet.
No, they're not, and their wings are super cheap right now. Where they're just doing it, to get people like they're 50 cents a wing, I think. So, but you only get them like 3 a piece, 3 wings.
Did you get Ruby's cheesecake?
I did not. I got the pulled pork sandwich from Brickyard. I almost got the cheesesteak, yes. So when I have the opportunity to get a Ruby's, I will.
I remember back in the day, you could do some eating. Remember those feeding frenzies that you used to go on?
Well, those days are long gone. Yeah, we went with my dentist actually that one year. And
I went a couple
buddies
years.
of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun to do that at the fair. Now Charlie Miller does it, so I don't have to do it anymore.
Well, and now you'd have to back the Brinks truck up to do it. To be honest with you,
yes. Well, you're not kidding. And I will say though, the prices were good at this thing. I mean, they weren't. Sometimes they weren't really food truck prices. They were more like a normal, $15 burger or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes food truck prices can get a little high.
Yeah.
Because it's
Overhead.
tough, bro. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough on them.
I'll tell
it's
you.
hard.
I remember the first time I saw a $10 burger. That was at the Hard Rock Cafe in Niagara Falls.
Remember that?
Now
You're
it's
like $10. What the?
Now it's a $20 burger.
Yeah, 20.
Easy.
Yep. A lot of them are 20. Unbelievable. And the price of beef is just. I was in the store the other day. So we're getting a place on the lake on Oneida Lake for a week, right? And I look at the price of beef. I'm like, well, we'll be eating a lot of chicken then, won't we? Is that Mike there?
Mike is here.
All right, Mike Otis is here. Battle-tested brands, not just barbecue sauce, but
Mike's muted, but there he is.
coffee.
there we go.
Now we're
and
good.
stuff. Mike,
I'm
we were just talking about Ray Rinaldi, man. You're a very, very
Yeah.
good friend of yours, obviously, and Give us, your impressions on Ray.
Ray was a unique human being. When I first met him, let me turn my audio down here. I'm getting a little feedback. I should know better. When I first met Ray, it was at the gym, and I stopped down there to take my son down to see if I could get him to do some boxing. And Ray always did this thing when you walked up, he'd grab you by the biceps, and he'd say, "You ready to come out of retirement?" And it's like I was never a fighter. It was just like, but he always busted chops on everybody, and he always saw the good in these kids. He was in a rough area of the city, and these kids, a lot of them don't even have a shot, and he wanted to give them that. And he always believed in them more than they believed in themselves, and gave them the encouragement that they could achieve whatever they wanted to achieve. And he used to get so frustrated. There would be a lot of grant programs through the city, and he'd always apply, and most of the time he never got the grant money. They'd go to these other youth centers for teenagers and stuff, and he used to say, "They're already gone at that point. If I can get them early enough in life, and I can bring the families together when we do this." It was putting the families together. It was the families rooting on the kids, and boxing was just the tool that brought all that together. And he was just an outstanding human being. He just really was.
I always wanted to ask him, I mean, where does this come from? Where does this philanthropy come from? Because, if it was easy, everyone would do it, and it's not. It's incredibly difficult. He went through so much over the years, having to battle for every buck for that place. I just want to know where that all comes from in someone.
It was very hard to say no to Ray. Now, government people could say no. I know. And a lot of times they would try and get some money, and some of it came in from there. But I mean, it was a lot of effort. But Ray had this personality and this way about himself that once he brought the person to the gym and saw what was going on with these kids and saw how the families were coming together, he was able to raise the money. And, and he had so many success stories coming out of that gym of kids that went on to do great things. And he was just one of those people that could, if Ray could get a hold of you for 20 minutes and show you what was going on, you ended up giving him some money. And I gave him some, when we first met him, but then I did a lot of volunteer time down at the gym on Geddes Street. And I'd go down there, I had my tuxedo on, and I became the ring announcer. And the kids, I got all their nicknames, and we just did the whole thing. And it just brought life to the kids when they'd see that and they'd hear their names. And, I'm down there in a tuxedo on Geddes Street. And, but it really, I always wanted to be a ring announcer, and he gave me that opportunity to do that. And I went on to get my pro announcing license and ended up doing some pro fights in New York State while I was living there. And I did a couple out at Turning Stone, and I owe Ray that for giving me that experience.
Yeah, and you got a hell of a voice too, man. You still have a hell of a voice. All right, so how's Battle Tested Brands doing?
Well, we're doing pretty good. We just got into every Navy base exchange globally.
Attaboy.
That's awesome.
Attaboy.
The company that picked us up both with the barbecue sauce and our coffee. So they have a veteran-owned kiosk. This company's called Paragon, and they handle every branch of the military. So the Navy's putting on these veteran-owned kiosks with veteran-owned products. It could be coffee, travel mugs. It could be flashlights or food products. And they say the consumables seem to go better. So we just got in. They launched July 8th, but we are literally on every Navy base exchange in the world right now. And
fantastic.
We'll see where that goes. And if it does well, they're going to plug us into every branch of the military, every base exchange, and then start working on the commissary side. So it's starting to blow up, and I'm getting scared because it's like, holy crap! What did I just, I'll
let me retire, man.
That's
Move
right.
to a freaking island.
And if people
I gotta. It's getting the funding put behind us because you got to produce all this,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I've self-funded this thing to this point, and it's like I'd like to make some money at some point. It's like you're building all of this, but we got the sauce going, then we did the coffee, and really it's designed to be in the military bases. So you know the Navy, right, Jim?
Oh yeah, yep. It's
Yeah,
perfect. It is.
Barbecue
It's-
sauce and coffee.
Is it
Perfect.
3 generations for you, Mike? Is it your father, you, and your son military?
Yes, that's correct. My son did 11 years Air Force, and he was part of the 174th as well. My dad was a World War II vet. He spent 4 years over in Europe, and I was with the 174th, and we did our time over at Desert Storm as well. So,
Did you ever do an honor flight with your dad?
I never got a chance to. He passed in 2000 before I got involved, and I did a lot of work with honor flight there.
I know you did.
Yep.
Yeah.
While I was living there, and it's hard. You transition from where you grow up and everybody you know, and I come down here. You saw some of one of the kids, Vinny Denario, out of Elmira. He used to go to Ray's gym a lot, and he came down here to fight. He went pro, and we went down to see him fight. But it's like, it's not the same as New York. You don't get the same opportunities. There was an honor flight that was working here for a while, but they kind of disbanded after a while. So,
it's too bad.
I get back home every probably 5 or 6 times a year. I go up to Syracuse just to connect with friends and family.
Well, it's. I will always be home for sure. Best of luck to you, Mike, and thank you for your
Thanks.
reminiscences about Ray. We appreciate.
What's the website, Mike, for to get the barbecue sauce and the coffee?
Battletestedbrands.com.
And can we get anything locally in a store?
Well, we got into Walmart after 2 years of fighting, but when I got in there, we based everything on pallets being shipped, and then it turned out we had to ship by store, and it's like it cost more to ship it than the order was. So I had to
individual stores.
Pardon me?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's all going to the same distribution center, so it wasn't So it didn't work, and we were in all this. We had all the stores lined up there in upstate New York. I think I don't know, Maisie Meats. I know carries us.
Yes, Macy's does.
Yeah.
And a couple of the other
get your
smaller
stuff.
stores. But if you order battletestedbrands.com, we'll ship it right to your door.
Yep.
And the coffee is roasted to order, so it's not sitting on a shelf waiting to go. We roast it as it comes in.
Man,
Mike,
love
I got to
the
get
sauce.
you. I got to get you in contact with my neighbor, who's the owner of Spears. We'll get you at Spears right
I
now.
think Spears has us actually.
Beautiful.
They
Beautiful.
should. And I still
I'll-
have that baseball for you, Bill. I got that
Beautiful.
Chipper
See?
Jones baseball that was signed to my mom. So
I'll
when I come back
cherish
up
it.
next time, I'll make sure I get that to you.
I'll absolutely cherish it, Mike.
All right, thank you, Mike. We appreciate you,
Appreciate
man.
you guys. Thank you.
See you later,
It's our friend Mike Otis.
man. Good for him.
Yeah, great for him. That's awesome. Well, it's too bad that Walmart didn't work out. Wow.
Yeah,
But that's crazy, making you ship to every. No, that's stupid.
it's a lot of
I
work.
wouldn't do that. No, that's crazy. Well, should we jump right into
We
it?
can.
So the SPCA locally had been having problems for quite some time, and the board, is just a mess. Everybody knows the story by now. And Stephanie Heath is here from Q's Pit Crew and is really behind the turnaround of the SPCA. She's here joining us. How are you, Stephanie? She can't hear us.
Stephanie, can you hear us?
I am
Oh, there you
doing
go.
well. How are you both? Yep. Can you hear
Very
me?
Yep, we can
Yep.
hear you.
And here's your
All right. Good stuff.
here's the director,
Marcy Marshall.
Marcy Marshall.
She's the new leader of the board president. Marcy, can you hear us?
I can.
Good,
Can you hear
excellent.
me?
Stephanie, we'll start with you first. How did Q's Pit Crew even get involved with the SPCA?
Yeah. So Q's Pit Crew, we've been around for a good 15 years now. We kind of do a hodgepodge of different things here locally for animal welfare. One of those things is that we work alongside government entities and different stakeholders to ensure that animal welfare and animal sheltering always has a voice at the table. This tends to, sometimes they forget about the animals and the pet owners in these broader conversations. And when politicians see me, they know I'm going to talk to them about animals. So, that's kind of my first, my real drive home with them. And so when things started to happen with the CNY SPCA, I had been asked initially to come and join as kind of a consultant to support them through my work with QSPIC. And we noticed some severe gaps taking place. and with board leadership, internal policies, and some real concerns. And in the end of the day, we just wanted the animals to be cared for and adopted into good homes and have the organization be the premier shelter in Central New York. Once things started to rock and roll, late winter, early spring, we heard from the staff that they were not very happy. They weren't happy with the current board at that time. And we had some pretty hard conversations about where to go next. And they decided to step back, and myself and some other local folks developed some rock star board members that have so much experience to lead this. And I'll let Marcy talk a little bit more about that. But we were just excited to kind of see it on the next phase. I mean, we all know between like the history with SPCA, they had this, the embezzlement case. They've had board turnover. They haven't been able to hold on to a director. And we're like, what's the issue here? Well, we haven't had the right people doing the work, really, is what it comes down to. So we're just excited, like, to introduce everybody and like I like to just go ahead and tell people how I brag, like this board is just like stacked really with the people that we have there now. So.
Well, Marcy, how did you get involved?
Marcy, you need to unmute your mic.
Sorry about that. I had conveniently retired in January from my career in veterinary medicine, veterinary hospital management.
Okay.
And so my wheelhouse was there, especially in recovering, floundering organizations, as sometimes veterinary hospitals can be. And then Steph tapped me and said, hey, this stuff is happening at the SPCA. Would you like to get involved? And I said, sure. You know, I watched what was going on at the SPCA for decades from the outside, and always thought that there was so much missed potential there. And so it was a little bit of put my money where my mouth is. And since I then had the time in the wheelhouse, here I am.
Where are we now as far as health-wise for the organization?
I think we've made great progress in all areas. Our facility is getting in hand as we speak. We've got electricians there upgrading some electrical stuff. We've fixed a lot of plumbing issues, HVAC issues, lots of physical plant stuff. Also implementing a lot of systems to get animals in their proper intake medically and, get them set up. And then also get them evaluated for behavioral and training, their path. And then also we've got systems in place for adoptions. So there was a lot of logjam that existed before. And I'm not saying that it's perfect at this point, but I think we've made considerable strides to get us to where we need to be.
Stephanie, let's talk about the animals, because that's the most important part. How are they doing?
The animals are doing well. See, when something like this happens, you have this this crisis in an organization, and oftentimes, you can kind of pull back and say, all right, look, where does the recalibration and reset need to take place, and do that with maybe you pull back on certain programming, you do things to accommodate the crisis, but in this case, there were animals that had to be cared for still. Like, they were there. There were staff that still needed to be paid. There were a lot of things that couldn't fall by the wayside. And what's really amazing is that through that entire crisis, the board make sure the animals still have what they need. How do we continue to maintain adoptions? Because guess what? The dogs and cats and the bunnies are still coming in from all these contracts that we have in the county and beyond. And we need to make sure this happens. So as far as the care went, believe it or not, went, it exceeded where it was even during the time of the transition. So that was something that I was really proud to witness, you know, on the sidelines. But they, you know, the animals, they have internally, they have dog trainers and behaviorists on staff. They have veterinarians. They have, you know, there's nothing that gets, that's the premier care right there, is making sure they have what they need during their temporary stop at the shelter until they go to their forever home.
Marcy, how are we for overcrowding? Because that's always been a concern at the SPCA.
Yeah, we teeter on capacity pretty much on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And due to the fact that it was a huge priority for me to get in there and get a system in place to get animals adopted. And that helps maintain the open, you know, it maintains flow. So even though we have a handful of adoptions pretty much every day or every week for sure. And so that allows the flow. And so we're okay. Like, we've not had to have any situations where we can't take anybody, you know, and we have no one. I know that when I first went in there were cages in the community room that they had used for overflow previously, and we got rid of them. And we just decided that we're not going to go back there. It's not good for the animals. And so we're just using better systems and techniques on how to handle intake, making intake go faster so they can get into the population faster, and then they can get adopted faster. So all those systems are essential in order to maintain flow.
Well, I think the SPCA is essential in this community. In every community, frankly. And I think that we need you to be healthy, and we need it to be run correctly. And we need it for a place where the animals are going to be cared for and safe and adopted.
Mm-hmm.
What can people do to help?
Yeah. And I think we've got, you know, and I point this out whenever I have a platform to talk about it, is that you've got shelters and you've got these groups caring for the animals, but what we need to stop kind of throwing the baby down the river, right? Like, how do we create the or decrease the flow on, like, what's the problem? What's the issue in the community that's causing so many animals to end up in the shelter in the first place? And I think that's what we have to go back to as a community. And that's where we need leadership to be on board with this, because if we're not talking to Vera House about the animals being surrendered because, you know, a victim has to leave their home because of a domestic violence, or we're not talking to, you know, these housing organizations because, you know, the evictions are happening and housing is a huge issue, and people have pets and they don't want to leave their pets. And where do they go with them? Well, a lot of them end up at the shelter. So, you know, this becomes much more, it's the step, right? It's so much bigger than just having a shelter. The shelter is the last stop before forever home. So it becomes kind of this temporary safe space, but we have to be addressing these other issues first, which is access to care. People have to be able to care for their pet. I mean, we can't pay for a lot of things now. I mean, you know, between the gas prices and all the things, we're just trying to, you know, get by. Many of us, especially in Central New York, you know, middle class communities. So when you've got, you know, veterinarians that are maybe leaving the area because they're finding jobs somewhere else and practices might be closing, or, you know, it's just accessing the needs for your pet, whether that be spay and neuter and your basic vaccinations, all of that needs to be available. Pet friendly housing, you know, access for survivors that need to leave. You know, I need to go into the hospital and have surgery. Where am I going to put my pet? I don't want to have to surrender it to the shelter. These are all things that we encounter every day and get calls about. So the conversation has to.
No, I agree. And it does have to go past the shelter conversation, and shelter should be a last result. But Marcy, for those people who want to help you guys out, how can they do that?
Well, donations. We can always use donations. That is how we survive. And we're doing a lot of fundraising. So attending fundraisers. We need fosters, kitty fosters, dog fosters. We always can take donations of blankets. We did have 8 parvo puppies in-house, and so you can't wash that laundry. You have to throw it out, and we went through a lot of our stock of just blankets. Things like bleach and laundry detergent. Those are the things that we really rely on every day, and we go through pretty quickly. We have an Amazon list, wish list, if people want to go on there and just check some stuff out.
Great idea.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put all the links up on our site.
If you guys can, if Stephanie or whoever can get me all that information, we'll definitely get that word out. That's just a great
That's
idea.
a great idea. Yeah, it is.
I'm getting to the point where I'm getting old enough now. I instead of birthday presents, I'd rather have people send stuff to you and stuff like that. I like that kind of when you see on Facebook people, donating money for birthdays for animals and stuff. I think that's the greatest thing. I know once we've had a dog now for about 1.5 years, and we're doing some classes with him this summer. And as soon as he's ready to have another friend, we're gonna come right to you and adopt.
Dog barks at me every time I come in here. Every time.
That's his job, isn't it? That's his job.
It is his job. Thank you, ladies, for your time today. We'll talk again, I'm sure.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Great. They're great. Yeah, your dog just cracks me up. So
it's me. The only guys that he likes are me. He barked at my brother for a half an hour the other day too.
Our friend Keith Coblin just posted the other day that his dog blew his ACL, so he had to have his ACL repaired. Now, the late Joe Galuski, my longtime friend and your friend Joe Galuski, had a dog that blew out both his ACLs, and he had them both fixed. You know how much that cost?
Oh, I'm sure.
Thousands. Man, I don't know. I love our dog. I do. I love our dog. And I'm home a lot, so I'm home with the dog a lot. But I don't know about spending thousands of dollars if he blows an ACL. Come on, man. Would you spend 12 grand or 10? Let's say $3 grand on Chipper. You know what I'm saying?
If it meant
That's hard.
I know.
And there's no insurance. There's no insurance for a dog, right?
There is a Shamrock Fund, right? Still, Matt Mulcahy's thing. Maybe we'll get him to come back on and talk about that.
We should. Yes, let's do that.
It's a good thing.
Yes, it's a very good thing.
Matt has put together a fund for just that.
Yeah. Helps people with neutering and spaying and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they do great stuff, and they have for a long time.
And I think there's even pet insurance now.
Yeah, that would be interesting because that stuff's expensive. I mean, it's thousands of dollars.
Even when I go just to take the dog to the vet to get his shots and his medicine and stuff. But it's just like, listen, it's like you have a kid. It's like taking a kid to the doctor,
No, it's not. Okay. No, you know that. No, it's a dog.
I know.
I love him. I do. I think he's great, but it's like 50 cents for a 22 shell or thousands of dollars for a
boy.
Yeah, we'll get mail now. No, I would never do that. I would have him. I don't know what I would do. I really don't know what I would do if my dog blows his ACL.
My sister-in-law's dog had he was Luna. What was Luna? Big dog. I can't remember, but you'd think it'll kill you, but it just kiss you to death. But because of its size, had leg and joint.
Yeah, they have joint issues. A lot of big dogs. Hips, back hip issues. A lot of them. What's the dog that has the cancer problem? The beautiful Labradors that have the cancer problem. Yeah, they're beautiful dogs, though, man. Well, I hope that the SPCA was such a mess. It was so bad, the embezzlement and the not paying the staff. And now, if it's all turned around, that's huge because they're very important to this community without a doubt. I will have to return, by the way, next week from my secret undisclosed Oneida Lake location to do the pod. So I will be in contact, however.
Yeah, if you got to do it, just let me know what day. We'll do
and then September, we'll be at a secret undisclosed Delaware location.
Oh, look at you. We're trying to find somewhere to go in the September, October area, too.
September's a nice time to be down in the South. I'll tell you that. No, it's not the intense heat's gone. It's still hot, but it's not the 95-degree 105% humidity.
I'm gonna need a week after my summer schedule is over.
Yeah, man, you are so busy. I think you're busier this year than you were last year.
I am, and I know the reason. So when I went down in 24 with my vocal problems,
Right.
I kind of didn't book anything because I didn't know what was going on. So I had a lighter summer last year because of that. Because that's when you start in October, you start
Right.
booking for the summer. And I just went, but I used to be an idiot and play 2 or 3 times on the weekend.
Used to be
one day. And I don't do that anymore.
No.
I there's only a couple days this year that I'm going from a Scars gig to a solo gig, or solo gig to Scars gig.
Which is easier?
The Scars, well, they both have their
Solo gig, you can warm up, right?
right. So the solo gig, I warm up for the Scars gig.
Right.
But if I do the Scars gig first, I'm all set for the
Yeah,
solo gig.
obviously.
It takes me so long to get warmed up now. It's ridiculous.
Really?
At least an hour.
Really?
At least an hour. I'll sit and do stuff in the car, half hour, 45 minutes on the way there, and then when I get there, I do some stuff. And I've got a humidifier now, a personal humidifier that.
Yeah, you like that thing, right?
And I'm going to my ENT on Tuesday to hopefully
That's good.
end this.
Yeah.
Allergy. I want the shot. I want it over with. I don't want to worry about pills.
Right. Yeah, it's when you have allergies and you have to sing outside. That's rough.
I did a wedding at Vernon Downs on Saturday, and boy, they have a beautiful wedding area. If you're
Do they?
looking for, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot less.
Is it in the
expensive than-
casino?
No, it's in their the hotel that they have next to it.
Yeah.
They have a beautiful ball area.
Oh.
But the thing that was cool is they got married on a terrace overlooking the racetrack.
Oh, that's cool.
And there were races on.
Oh, no kidding.
So this was the first time I've ever done a wedding where we had to hold for a race. But the problem was when the race started, the dust.
Oh.
I was done.
Oh.
Thankfully, I only had to sing. I didn't have to sing 3 hours. I only had to sing an hour.
Wow.
And then I do my DJ thing after. But it was a fun. I've probably had every type of wedding.
Right.
Marathons to. This one was nice, short, sweet, 5 to 9. Get it in.
Oh,
Dinner,
beautiful.
dance, out.
Beautiful. That's
There's great
nice.
people.
That's great. Yeah, I like the Vernon Downs. That's we went there a couple years ago, a couple times, and the races are cool. I like watching the races.
I didn't realize they were still on the weekends.
Yeah.
I thought they had shut the whole operation down.
No,
but
they still do on
they used to
weekends.
race every day.
I know. Yeah.
But if I always, and in these days, a lot of people complain about, the abuse of the horses and all that. But
Right.
it's such a, that is one of the earliest sports.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And our friend, Todd Engel,
Yeah.
the lawyer, he's huge.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Into
Called the Sport of Kings.
The Sport of Kings.
All right,
Speaking
so-
of the Sport of Kings,
Yes. Do we have anything for next week, by the way? What is that? Oh, you got
I
one.
got one.
Nice.
I walked
Is
into
that an official one?
This is the official one.
Oh, that's nice.
I walked into Pro Image at the Destiny USA on Monday, and there
Fitty?
was one Fitty Bones. Fitty Bones. So what I'm planning on doing
That's
is
nice. Though.
it is. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a shelf behind me,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna get. They've made a throwback 1995 Braves championship hat. They've made a 1995. I found a vintage 1995 Devils Stanley Cup,
Okay.
and I want a 1986 Giants, and that'll be all 4 of the first time
Nice.
they were.
Yeah. Nice. I like that.
And I'll put that right behind me.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know.
That would look good.
I don't like white hats because of my bald head. I sweat,
I don't like white hats.
and it'll yellow it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this nice.
Yeah, keep it nice.
I
That is nice.
I still have in my nonsense behind this wall my all my Giant stuff. That was the conversation that I had with the folks at the mall back in the day. Super Bowl was Sunday. Sport Authority was opening up at 8:00 the next morning selling the stuff.
Yes, that's right. They were. That's
We had
true.
a big line. I was hungover as the night of the first Patriots Giants
Mhm.
game. Boy, we drank a lot of champagne. Ran around my uncle's neighborhood. Then he had to go to work he worked for Coca-Cola. He had to go to work at like 5, 6 in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
Hungover is
Wow.
the worst. And then I'm in line at Sports Authority trying to buy stuff.
That will look good behind you, though.
Yeah.
I like that Braves hat. You have the new one.
Yes,
I like that.
the City Connect.
Yeah, that's nice. Although these City Connect uniforms, they look like freaking softball uniforms. I hate
I
it.
know.
I hate it. Hate it.
The
I'm glad
Phillies
the Yankees
won.
don't do it.
They're going to use the alternate batting jerseys.
Oh, are
for
they?
Right
Yeah,
now.
that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that.
But yeah, I don't think
The other
think
stuff-
you'll ever see an alternate like that.
No,
with the Yankees.
No.
You'll never see a name on a jersey, and you'll never see any craziness.
that's right.
But you will. I think are they alleviating facial hair?
Yeah, you can have a beard now.
Yeah.
It has to be nicely trimmed, but whatever. I mean, they don't enforce it, but yes, you can have a beard. That's
Johnny
fine.
Damon was-
Cincinnati, you can't have a beard. You
Yeah.
couldn't for many years. Many years. Marge Schott, remember her?
Yep.
Nut job with the big dogs
dog.
and stuff.
Racist,
Jeez.
yelling.
Oh yeah. All right. So, do we have anything for next week? Yet?
We're gonna hopefully by next week we'll have.
I want the mayor of North Syracuse.
Yes, that's one. He's on vacation this week. He
Okay.
couldn't. So we're gonna work on him, and hopefully by next week we'll have more info about the New York 129. So we'll
Right.
talk to Mo and Bill. Hopefully.
All right. Excellent. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all of that. Subscribe, please. We'll have some. By the end of the summer, we're going to have Inner Sanctum swag. I promise
Yes.
you.
Please go to it. Helps us a lot because once we get to a certain amount of people subscribed on YouTube, then we can monetize. So while you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and you'll get an email when we're on live and all that good stuff.
Don't talk about it. Just do it.
Do it.
Do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it. All right. Thanks. Like when what's his name did that on The Office. All right. Thank you for all of that, and we appreciate you very much. And God willing, we're all back at it next time on the Jim Reith Show Unleashed podcast.